You paid $100 online, got some fancy paperwork that says you're a business, and now you think nobody can ever touch your house. You think that three-letter acronym is a magical shield. It isn't. An LLC is more like a piece of paper that comes with a very strict list of rules. If you break those rules, that shield vanishes, and the people suing you'll come straight for your personal bank account. But before we unpack exactly how that happens, you need to understand the one big secret that the people selling these online packages never bothered to explain. We'll get to that secret in just a minute. First, we have to talk about what that shield is actually supposed to do. An LLC is a limited liability company. That's a legal structure that separates your personal stuff from your business stuff. It means if your business gets sued or owes a ton of money, the person suing can only go after the things the business owns. They can't touch your personal car, your personal bank account, or your house. That's the dream anyway. The reality is a lot more brutal. The problem usually starts with what lawyers call commingling. Commingling means mixing your business money and your personal money together. It's the #1 way people accidentally destroy their own liability protection. Picture a guy who runs a small plumbing business out of his van. He has his LLC set up and he has a business bank account. But one afternoon, his kid needs braces. He doesn't have time to transfer money the right way. He just takes a customer payment directly from his business account and hands it to the dentist. He just commingled. He treated the business account like his own personal wallet. If a customer sues his business because a pipe burst and flooded a house, that customer's lawyer is going to look at the bank records. They're going to see that he paid the dentist out of the business account. They'll ask the judge to do something called piercing the corporate veil. Piercing the corporate veil means the judge looks past the LLC and says, you know what, this isn't really a separate business. This is just this guy running his personal life. The judge will wipe away the LLC protection, and suddenly that plumber's personal savings and his house are on the line. It's that simple. When you treat the business like your personal piggy bank, the law treats the business like it's just you. But commingling is only the beginning. The next trap is what happens when you personally do something wrong. This is the contrarian part that almost nobody understands. An LLC protects the owner from the debts of the business. It doesn't protect the owner from their own personal screw-ups. Imagine you hire a guy to drive a truck for your delivery company. He falls asleep at the wheel and crashes into a building. The owner of the company isn't personally driving the truck. The business might get sued, but the owner's personal house is safe. Now flip it around. You're the owner, and you decide to drive the truck yourself. You're texting, you blow a red light, and you crash into a building. The LLC isn't going to save you. The person you hit will sue you personally for being a reckless driver. They'll sue the business because you were working for it, and they'll sue you personally because you were the one holding the phone. If a jury says you owe $1 million for causing the wreck, your LLC does absolutely nothing to stop them from taking your house. People have this idea that as long as they operate under a business name, they can't be held accountable for their own actions. The law doesn't work that way. You're always on the hook for what you do. If you commit libel, which means writing or saying something false that ruins someone's reputation, you're the one who gets sued. If you physically assault someone while working, you're the one who gets sued. The LLC is there for the financial health of the business. It isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card for your personal behavior. Then we have a problem with contracts. A lot of small business owners sign leases for their storefront or sign agreements with vendors without reading the fine print. Sometimes the person giving you the contract will slip in a little clause. That clause says something called a personal guarantee. You've to look up the specific rules for your own state. There's another huge trap here, and it involves signing your name. When you sign a contract, a receipt, or an invoice for your business, you've to sign it the right way. If you just sign your name at the bottom, you might be personally binding yourself to that contract. You've to sign your name, followed by your title, followed by the name of the LLC. You're signing on behalf of the company, not as yourself. If you forget to put the company name down, a judge might decide you agreed to the deal in your personal capacity. That means you're personally liable, and your personal assets are back on the chopping block. It's a brutal mistake that takes 5 seconds to make. Let's go back to the guy with the plumbing van. He paid the dentist out of the business account. That's commingling. But imagine he does something else. He needs a new water heater for a job. He goes to the supply store and puts it on a business credit card. But the credit card application had a personal guarantee. He makes a late payment. The credit card company sues. They can sue the business, but because of that guarantee, they can also sue him personally. They can garnish his wages, which means taking money directly out of his paycheck before he even sees it. He thought the business card was safe because it had the business name on it. He never realized he had put his own neck on the line. This is why you can't just buy a form online and call yourself protected. You've to understand what a contract says before you sign it. You've to understand what a personal guarantee is. You've to know what an indemnity clause is. An indemnity clause is a promise to pay for the damages or losses of another party. If you sign a contract with a big company and it has an indemnity clause, you might be agreeing to pay their legal fees if something goes wrong. The LLC won't save you if you personally agree to take on someone else's burden. So, when does the LLC actually step up and do its job? It does its job when a vendor trips over a wire in your office and breaks their leg. It does its job when a product you sell malfunctions and hurts a customer. It does its job when an employee makes a mistake on the job site and causes property damage. In all those cases, the injured party can sue the business. They can take everything the business owns. But they can't take your house as long as you didn't personally cause the injury and you didn't sign a personal guarantee. The LLC is a dam. It holds back the floodwater of business debt, but that dam has a bunch of holes in it. If you poke your own holes in it by commingling funds, the dam breaks. If you personally do something reckless, the water flows over the top. If you sign a personal guarantee, you're basically handing the floodwater a map to your front door. The protection is real, but it's entirely conditional on your behavior. You've to treat the business like a completely separate person. You can't borrow from it when times get tough. You can't use it to hide from your own responsibilities. If you play by the rules will protect you. If you bend them because you're busy or because it's convenient, you'll find out exactly how fragile that $100 piece of paper really is. You've to maintain separate bank accounts, keep good records, file your state paperwork on time, and always sign documents as a representative of your company. If you're facing a massive lawsuit right now, or if a creditor is trying to pierce your corporate veil, you're in deep water. The general information here won't save you. You need to talk to a local business attorney immediately. They can look at your specific paperwork, figure out exactly where the holes are, and tell you what your actual options are. Don't try to untangle that mess on your own. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen a small business owner try to write off as a business expense? Let me know down in the comments. If this breakdown helped you see through the myth of the magical business shield, pass it along to a buddy who is thinking about starting their own company. Make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the playbook before someone tries to use your own paperwork against you.